Welcome, everyone. I'm Sally Hurley, and I'm joined today with Jeff Cramp. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Sally. Hello, everyone. Great to be here again. My favorite time of the month.
We are going to get started here in just about 1 minute. How many have we done now of these? Maybe 20? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I hard to remember a time when we weren't doing these.
Well, welcome, everybody. We're going to get started here in just a minute. We're going to be talking about AI for CX. And we're excited, especially today, I think, just to share our perspective. So just give it another 10 seconds. Let everybody join. Thank you so much. All right. Jeff, you ready for this?
I'm always ready.
Well, thank you for joining us. Again, I'm Sally Hurley. I'm the CEO here at VIP Desk. I'm joined with our Chief AI Officer and CTO, Jeff Cramp. Welcome,
Good morning,
Jeff.
everyone. Thank you, Sally.
Yeah, great to have you. And today we're going to be talking about AI for CX and really just an open discussion, sharing the questions we've received, from not only you, but also from our clients over the past year. So we want to jump into this, and just in terms of background of who we are. So we're coming up on 2 years, right, Jeff?
It's hard to imagine. Yeah.
We've been helping clients implement AI for CX, meaning the front customer facing experience. So customer service, handling voice, chat, email. And it's changed so much in the past year that we thought it'd be helpful to talk about, like, try to answer the questions that everybody's asking us. And really, people are forward thinking, wondering where this is all headed. So the questions have certainly shifted from a year ago. It's no longer should we use AI? It's how do we actually do this, and how do we do it well? So we're going to dig into these questions, and we're going to answer them based on what we're actually seeing in the market. And Jeff is our technical guru here and has hands-on experience with this. I'm going to be sharing more the perspective of what I'm hearing from other CEOs and our clients in terms of strategy and ROI, which everybody loves to talk about. So, you ready, Jeff?
I'm always ready. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let's start off talking about, first of all, I didn't cover our agenda, but we're going to talk about what 2026 looks like what's the reality of where we are, our strategy and readiness, our execution and implementation, ROI and business impact, and then people, risk, and reality. So we have some just open dialogue we're going to have in each of these areas. And so let's do it.
Awesome.
All right. So 2026, Jeff, what's actually changed for AI for CX versus this time last year?
Yeah, so interesting. Last year was all about the models. Like and through this 2-year journey, we've seen a lot of iterations of these language models. You hear about in the news, you see it with ChatGPT. That's always, what's the next greatest model? And sort of my hot take here is, from a customer service perspective, we're good. Like, you're going to have ChatGPT 7.2 probably come out in the next couple of years. This, from what we need to do, it's great. The context window is big enough. The ability to interpret people's intent is amazing. I think it's great. And so that's always was the discussion. We should wait, or what about this, or are we on the latest model? I think 2026 is going to be all about the tools, the integrations. Like, AI can speak very well. It can handle customer service, but what are you empowering it to do? We're seeing integrations by the day get added to, like, the repo of our integrations that we can do. Sort of moving beyond the language. So language models, and that was always a struggle when we were implementing these clients, like sort of some of the visual flows that happen in the more traditional sense. Language models kind of got rid of a lot of that, but they were really natural sounding, the more like you're talking with your agents. So now it's a blending of both of those. Can we instruct the AI to render up these models, to put these buttons on the screen, to give some more visuals? Clients really like that. And certain use cases, if you're just explaining a policy, it doesn't help you. If you're showcasing an order from Shopify, you want to see something, maybe a little visual, show the product, that kind of thing. There's a lot more you can do with that. And so really those type of enhancements. And then there was a lot of conversation last year of how do you do this? Like, do we put AI here, AI there? And now really the sort of having an orchestrator agent that sends out these sub-agent tasks to take care of various types of requests. Everybody's sort of settled in on that. That seems to be a really good flow. So that's really good. And then when the conversation is done, you've utilized AI to have this whole thing. Can you do analysis with that? Like why stop there and then be like, okay, that conversation was done. Can you do some post-conversation analysis for understanding what the conversation was about and do all of that? So that's where I think 2026 is going to be all about, is really maximizing these tools and unleashing them to be able to do more.
Well, one of the questions you get all the time is this really move beyond experimentation? Like the answer we know, you're laughing, is yes, of course.
Yeah, it's that definitely was the conversation, like when we're having sales calls and like, oh well, like is it too risky to do this thing? And we were out of the gate, no, this stuff is amazing, and I've never felt this to be risky. Like in the couple of years, like pre that, sure. But as people develop strategies, as these models got bigger, context window gets bigger, like to me, the risk in the experimentation is doing things the old way. Like that's, if you want to look at that is, if you want to experiment and do like a retro where you can have people fax requests and email you, like that's the experiment. Right now, this is the expectation. This is what people want. If you do it well, even the resistance from the public, people when these bots came out, they were sort of like, oh, another terrible chat bot. And now it's like they don't even realize that they're chatting with these agents. So yeah, experimentation is not a word anymore. This is the status quo. You just have to do it.
And we're talking about customer facing. We're not talking about agent assist, which I think last year people were still talking about that. Not that it's bad, because certainly providing accessible information to customer service agents is helpful, right. But we're way beyond that, right?
Way beyond that. And I think it was a safe way, especially in the early days. And I think people in our industry who sort of resist it, it was a safe way for them to do it. Oh, we'll do agent assist, and that way we can still keep all the staffing that we're doing and all of that. But the reality is, if you have like agent assist now, I can't even imagine. It's got to be doing all the work. Just let it do all the work. Like these language models are so powerful. If you've got solid knowledge, if you've got robust tools, these agents can take advantage of that and just do it. And then you have your humans. They don't like they still need tools. And yeah, if you have some agent assist that can help with them, but they're handling those high level VIP, white glove, or really sort of sensitive issues. That's not something that you that's going to be the human in the loop, right? They need to really be focusing on helping that customer. So I've never been a huge fan of agent assist. It just felt too timid and too like dipping your toe in the water, but like it's way too late for that.
Yeah, I still don't even get me started. So the other question that I think is of the moment is, what's the status and state of voice, right? Everybody for the last 2 years they've primarily been focused on automating, email or chat. Right. And we see that that's been successful. So now what about voice?
Yeah, voice is an interesting one, because it was one that we were sort of a little hesitant with people, because so what traditionally it was is someone would talk, it would have to transcribe that, send that off. It's essentially a chat that happens. Right. And if you've called it before, you hear the bloop, 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 or the typing sounds in between that. And that wasn't great. And it's a more expensive channel. So you have to build that out differently, because you're doing things a little bit differently. You can't have it necessarily just read a 3-paragraph response to a customer. And then I think what's going to happen, and what you're seeing right now, is a lot of these providers, OpenAI and a lot of these like 11 Labs, they have streaming now. So basically you're streaming the data. So as the person is talking, it doesn't have that pre-processing step. So it's much more natural. And what we see a lot is you can interrupt it. So if it is going on too long, or maybe it misunderstood and it's going on a different direction, just like an agent, you can go, actually, I mean this. Oh, I'm sorry. And it's just a very natural conversation. It sounds great. So I think you're going to see a lot of that. And the great thing about that technology is you can build that upon chat. So we still promote doing digital first. It's a great way to get out, get quick, get those savings there. But then if you have the right business too, I think if you're like doing reservations or hotels or like short, like conversational type of things, that's great. If you want more involved conversations, robustness, I still think humans are going to be good for that. But it is moving in that direction. And so if the cost makes sense, because it is more, you can build upon your chatbot, but definitely start digital first. But the voice is like, we're sold on that now.
Yeah. And I think, you're going to need the same content for voice as you do for digital. So digital gives you, you're not having this audible situation to deal with. Does it sound like our brand? Does it have our style and our tone? There's another layer where you could use the opportunity to get the digital right before you implement voice, sort of stage it.
Yeah, I think the best way to look at digital is it's a great foundation because it's going to make sure that you have the integration. It's going to make sure that your knowledge is robust, that you've thought this out, that you have the various sub agents that can handle the task. And then the voice part is easy. You're going to have some tweaks to that. Like, again, you don't want it to read 17 paragraphs to a customer. You want it to be a bit more natural and maybe go in depth or offer to like, oh, let me send that to you. So there is slightly different tweaks. So it's not a nothing implementation. But having that solid foundation, figuring it out first. What are the challenges? What's your demographic of customers? How are they interacting with that? Do we need to tweak that a little bit? It's so much easier to do digitally and then do that analysis than to do it with voice out of the gate. So digital first, hands down, and then switch to voice for sure.
All right. So should we talk about strategy and readiness?
Yes. Your turn, Sally. So let's see what I got here. So companies are asking, where should we start with AI and CX? Like what's like, it's a big encompassing thing. Where's the starting point?
Well, I would say, in terms of your customer experience, do you have reporting already that would give you the insight in terms of a heavy volume of routine inquiries? Does that exist, right? In terms of, is there something to automate? Because you want to probably start, and most people are already doing this, but start with the idea of automating things that are repetitive, routine, not as high touch or one-off. So I would say that's the best place to start. Like, what if you could wave your wand and have everything automated? What would you want to have the customer experience be? And your current reporting would give you an instant vantage point for making that call, at least for now.
Yeah, 100%. It gives you guidance. It will direct you on the implementation. It will make you focus your efforts there. I think you have to know your business. That is it sounds obvious, but
I know.
All right. So how do you know if you're ready, Sally?
Well, I think if you sat in a room with your team, executives, with your leadership team, and you role play the customer experience, if a human can't answer the question that customers are posing, then you can't automate it. Like AI is not going to automate what you don't know. So that sounds crazy, but a lot of businesses don't have documentation. They don't have the answers. And when you go to implement it, then it's like, how they're trying to figure out during implementation, oh, we should have maybe, they may be on a fast track, which is fine. And I think being able to sit in a room, somebody has to provide those answers to a bot so that it can provide those answers to a customer. So being ready is like, culturally, there's other things. Are you ready to jump in and take some risk to automate and refine as you go and be honest with your customers that, what you're doing? But if you don't have the information to start, like you don't have procedures, you don't have, manuals for the products, if you are sitting in a room and you role play it out and how my Bluetooth isn't syncing with this particular product and somebody can't answer that.
Right. Yeah, I
Or
like to
if
look
some
at it.
manual can't answer it, then you're
Yeah, I
not.
like to look at it as if you were to pull someone off the street, what's the lift to get that person to handle like 30% of your interactions? Like if it's like monumental, like, oh my gosh, like that, if that's, you're not ready. But if you're like, oh, well, no, we would give them these type of things. We would only send them these like 30% of calls because those are light lift, check the store to my order, like change, cancel addresses, that kind of thing. Um, then yeah, you are good to go. But yeah, absolutely. It sounds basic, but you'd be surprised, especially if you have established teams and you've been doing this a long time. Everyone just knows it, so it's like nobody's taken the time to put it down. All right, so let's say you are ready. How do you gain alignment in your organization?
I think this is huge, just having gone through this with our own clients, because usually the team that's running a customer service operation, they're people that are turning around and reporting back to executives. So I would say it's really important to get one of those or several of those voices at the table out of the gate. So you're aligned on what your, objectives are. Everybody will say, oh, we want to save money. Yes, but you need probably marketing at the table, finance, somebody representing the budget at the table, and probably at least some of the CEO's time in the beginning. So you're all aligned on what you're trying to achieve, more than just, oh, we'd like to save 50%. You want to save money, I'm sure. You want to preserve your customer experience.
Yeah.
And then you're sort of leveling out the expectations that it's not going to be, you're going to have a lot of impact day one, but your savings might start to become realized at month 6, for example, right, just because of how you step into it. Yep. You could have some people at the table that are like, let's go crazy, let's automate everything. And then you have other people that are like, no, we can't, let's be very cautious and not hand everything off to a human. Then your finance people are going to be upset because you're going to have the AI costs layered on top of the existing people. And they'll be like, what are we doing? So I do think alignment is key out of the gate, or because there's just a lot of unknown. So if you're in the position of reporting back, at least you can have a beacon of, this is our objective. This is where we're trying to go with this. This is our ultimate goal. And you get everybody on the same page.
100%. So if you're going to do all of this, why would you use an MSP, like a managed service provider, versus just doing it yourself? Like you get a bunch of sales calls. Oh, here's a platform. I give my credit card. I'm good. Why use an MSP?
Well, there are a million AI platforms, first of all. So yes, you could go pick out a technology, but I will say most businesses right now are implementing AI, let's call it 12 different departments across the organization, from HR to marketing. And, when you're talking about the customer experience, that is a deeply important function that affects your revenue stream. Those are your customers. They are your lifetime value. And while you have, I'm sure, you might have a fabulous customer service team, do they know how to implement AI for customer service? Does your tech team know how to do, they probably have a queue of 80 other projects. And by the way, AI in the 12 other departments. So when you work with a partner, like, this is all we do, the customer experience. That's it. Don't ask us to go implement AI for your HR team. I'm sure we could do it, but you want like deep domain expertise, somebody that can guide you and sort of nudge you towards the edge of where you can really reap the best customer experience and ROI. Like, you want to be able to push the envelope, I think, and we really help our clients, like, take them to the edge, allow them to experience what's a great savings, right? That's what everybody wants, but also sort of keep that eye on the customer experience. And it's like, you could pick one of 2,000 different platforms, but it's not really the platform. It's like, how do you implement it, and in what stages and at what level, that protects the brand, your brand voice, your brand experience, what you want customers to experience.
Yeah, customer service is very organic, and like you can't really train customers. Like you can always do something internally and it's great because you've trained everybody, okay, no, only do this and this is how you do it. But customers is it's so organic, and so like we've been doing this now for more than 25 years. We know customer service, and I think that's the expertise that you bring. Even though the partners and the companies that we deal with that are on the platform sides, they're very technical. They know technically how to do certain things, but they're a platform company, so they don't necessarily know that customer experience directly. And I think
And
that's
it's,
what we gain.
yeah, it's not one and done either, right? Like if we flash back to a year ago, one of our clients is now at 80%. They were, they had really good automation in the beginning, but it was carefully managed day by day, week by week, getting better and better. The platform is changing, the brand is changing, new products are coming into the mix. It's like a carefully curated and managed situation. So tech companies, I'm not sure that they'll get it up and working, but the real, I think, ROI is when you refine it. Like you can get it out. Like we could implement a platform right in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Give us your content, we'll get it up. It'll be not terrible, honestly, but it'll be amazing after a year. And not just because of the tool, it's because of the expertise in how to make it do what you want it to do.
Yeah, and like we have a small army that's like constantly like changing and iterating. I met with a bunch of the engineers on Friday, and the changes that are coming, it gets your mind boggling at how fast this stuff is moving. So you can't just sort of set it. Like, it's not like you set up a phone tree in some system or like configure your Zendesk to auto reply to emails when somebody replies, and then you're done. No, this is like you got to stay on top of it. So it's a lot of work.
Okay, so
All right.
speaking of a lot of work, let's shift gears to you and talk about that. Let's talk about execution and implementation. And I mean, this is a hard one to answer, but what platform should we be considering?
Ha. Yeah, the secret sauce, the magic platform. No, so I would say that's an old school way to look at it, is what platforms. You really want to know capabilities. So first of all, AI agnostic. Any platform you do, it should be able to work with any language model. Language models are going to get cheaper. They are going to get better. They're going to get faster. You might want to pivot to a cheaper model, or depending on the pricing structure, you want that flexibility. Anybody who sort of is tied into an old way of doing things of like, oh, we spent thousands and thousands of hours building the platform, so that's what we're going to stick with for the next 5 years, you're in trouble out of the gate. So platform, from an AI perspective, you need a language model agnostic platform. You also want something where you can see like what's their change log, what is the features that they're doing. If it's something they've built and it's good and they're just happy with it because they're like, yeah, this is amazing, and they haven't done anything, like it almost is hard to get work done. It's changing so fast that you spend half of your time keeping up with things. So that's one of the reasons you want to make sure your platform is doing that they're willing to scrap what they did 6 months ago in order to sort of move forward with this. And that can be just the strategy and how you implement that, but also the tools and the integrations and that kind of thing. So I think the platform is key, but not which platform. It's how flexible, how adaptive, how cutting edge are they, with at the same time being safe for your public exposure of your brand. So it is a balance, but like that's one of the things that we vet out. It's never like, you this has been 3 years running on this thing and you've been, these are your numbers. Like that doesn't do it for me. Like if you can't say like, oh yeah, no, we just did another release and we revamped this thing, it's more work for my team, but it means better service.
And I think one of our past webinars, we dug into how to issue an RFP for this. I mean, not that these companies have time to probably respond to RFPs, but inside of that, which is on our website under toolkits, you'll see like kind of the capabilities that you're talking about. Like that's what you want to use as kind of your checklist.
It's all about capabilities for sure.
Okay. Well, what kind of, and people ask us this all the time. I think I kind of keep asking us this all the time too, but like what new roles do we need to consider as we step into this?
Yeah, I think really it's going to come down to the knowledge. Like I know we've said this before, but if you've got like your learning management team and they're creating training content, you've got your marketing team, your product design team. If you can get somebody or a team of people to really pull all that together, like AI likes content a certain way, and again, if you have a managed service provider, they'll help you get that and boil that in. But it is really something that is pivotal because that's going to change and people are going to ask things and AI is going to interpret things. So it needs a lot of massaging, especially in the beginning. So someone to stay on top of that. I assuming you're having new products and your new services and new policies and stuff like that. So that's an everlasting job, and that will pair very well with a quality person. So someone looking at quality and insights, which again you're doing now, but this is on a broader picture because you now are servicing more people in theory, and a lot of it is getting handoff, and you don't want that to live in isolation. You want to still know what's going on in your business. And so I think that is fundamentally what's going on. Now, if you are doing this yourself, well, there's a whole other business that you have to factor in because you're going to need like your prompt engineers. That's still a position that is still very relevant, more so as you get into this thing. Who's handling your integrations? Who's creating these tools or MCP servers or various types of things? Compliance, what can they do? So you need someone to really manage that whole thing. So it's like you're kind of doing like almost building a new call center 2.0, and you're kind of shift people over, find those skill sets, those people that have those skills. And then of course your people, you still have experts there. You have people that knowledge, maybe you're like your top tier people who are providing service could be those content providers. They know that voice. So it's not necessarily even new roles. It's really moving people around and figuring out what's the right fit for your success, especially again, if you're using a provider, because they may not know your brand well. So you need that advocate to say like, this is what's important to us. And this is how we want that message to be conveyed, especially if it's not a pleasant message, like a policy that's maybe people don't like. So you really need to have those people, those advocates, those roles in your organization.
All right. So what does the strong first 90 days look like?
Okay. Well, first of all, you should be launched. This is not the old platforms that maybe 90 days was the planning phase, and then you're going to like do this, and then you got to buy equipment or procure some cloud resources or whatnot. No, you should be iterating often and fast. So in the first 90 days, you should, well, let's assume that you were talking about earlier about being ready. Let's assume you're ready. So you need to have your agents built. And this is, again, you can go out there and you should try to achieve what you have now. If you have nothing, okay, just throw up a bunch of your content, get your top 5 reasons for contact, get that agent out there doing its job, and then start building upon that. So if you already have an integration with Shopify or various resources that you have people self-serve, you need to get that integrated. That should be there in the first 90 days. This is all relatively straightforward stuff, assuming sort of more common customer service type companies. And then you need to be monitoring and iterating on that. So a multi-phase approach, what do we need, what do we must have and whatnot, but go fast. Because if you are going through this and you have a plan that's in 90 days, you are not servicing a decent percentage of your customers, you're doing something wrong, or you're with the wrong provider, or you're just being too cautious. This stuff is really good. And this first successful 90 days, I think you should be probably at the very minimum what you're offering now, but I would say double. So double the volume. Your CSAT should have gone up because this stuff is really good. You should have very good insights into what's going on in your organization. And you should already have your plan for phase 2, 3, 4 of okay, great. We've got rid of all of these. Now, how can we do this? Or what can't we do? And figuring that all out. But a 90-day plan, I do not see how companies could, in faithful discussion with you, say it's going to take longer than 90 days.
I would just add to all of that, based on what we've seen, is that, launch fast, but tell everybody settle down. Have a rhythm where you're gathering feedback from all of those. We talked about alignment in the beginning, all of those, people within the organization that have opinions about the customer experience, because you don't want to be managing, the CEO thinks it should hand off and the head of marketing thinks it, and then it's not quite perfect. And you want to get it to a place where it's iterating,
Yes.
and containing all the feedback in a way that is manageable, right? So out of the gate, you could go fast and then expect it to vastly improve over 90 days as well, I would say.
Right. And I think too that the goal, I think that's why it's good to have an alignment, is you're going to see this exponential curve and it will taper off. Like you're going to be doing tweaks more around, I find, like customer satisfaction, customer engagement as you sort of get that. But in the beginning, iterating fast is key. And then pausing for a second and looking at get a good decent sample set. You can't iterate every day. But you might find that, oh my God, all of our documentation is using internal terminology, and the customer's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's not the bot's fault. It's really that you've just got this information so you need to tweak and massage it and just again prioritize it. But having everyone alignment too on what your 90-day plan is, and let them know, okay, well, we're going to launch this at day 30 and day 60 and day 90, and this is what the milestones we're looking to hit. And let them know that it is a curve you're doing to achieve those goals. So maintaining your CSAT, improving your CSAT, or getting that automation rate to reduce costs, or to offer 24/7. Again, everybody should be having that conversation constantly and understand where you're at in the process.
Definitely. Well, speaking of costs,
All right.
into ROI and business impact.
Yeah, this is where this actually used to be a lot of the initial conversation is like, hey, Sally, how much am I going to save?
Yeah, that's
So
still
what
the
is savings real?
conversation. It's still the conversation.
Well, that's true. So what kind of savings are actually real?
Oh my gosh. So let's talk about this. I would say, in general, at this moment in time, you can expect to save 50% for your customer service operation. Out of the gate, you're going to overlap it because you're going to have your existing cost, all of it. Then you're going to layer this on, and then the automation is going to slowly increase depending on how you manage it, or it's being managed, and your current cost infrastructure will come down. But when you get to a point safely, we could say 4 months, 6 months, where you're really seeing that ROI, I think of 50% is probably conservative. But it's not just that. And this is what probably drives us both crazy. Out of the gate, you're adding a bazillion languages. You're probably expanding hours to 24/7. I mean, you're expanding the scope of capabilities. And here's what you will hear. I don't know what's going on. We implemented AI and our volume went up. Well, yeah, because you didn't offer a bazillion languages, literally 30 or more languages overnight. You probably weren't 24/7. So those customers probably came to your website or called you, gave up, and probably were frustrated and left. So the ROI is really interesting because unless you're going to implement it for the same hours in English, it's hard to compare. Here's what our cost was, here's what our cost is, because now you've gone to, Everest in terms of offering service to your customers. And typically this happens at the same time, meaning you're not just implementing English from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You're going 24/7. Why wouldn't you? 30 languages. So you're servicing more customers, but I think there has to be, again, back to alignment and appreciation for the fact that those customers couldn't be served before.
Right. And the argument could even made, this could cost you more if you are underwater, you've quadrupled your business in a short amount of time, you can't service your customers, and now you are. And so your customer satisfaction's up, your people aren't stressed out because they're everyone's yelling at them, it's taking 2 weeks to get back to them. So what are your goals?
Right. Let's just go there. Most businesses, let's just talk retail, e-commerce. They have peak seasons, of course. 99.9, if okay, 100% of them have trouble at some peak point handling that with humans. You implement AI, even let's say you did it right now, it's spring. By the time you get to the holiday season, it's going to be working beautifully. And you're not going to, you might be hearing like squawking. Why are we not saving money? You're going to see it when you would normally go to hire a class of 75 for the holiday season for 6 weeks when you don't need to hire them. Like, there's a lot to consider from an ROI perspective. We built a calculator. We did a whole webinar on this. But I think you and I probably go crazy when people want to know, okay, I have a team of 60. Will it go to 30? It's not quite that simple. Right. Yes, you will have a reduction. You will need people to move into other roles. I will say, buy your trainers gifts right now. They hold the keys to the future. They have a lot of knowledge, and your top agents do too. And you're always going to need amazing people, right? I think we keep saying that. The bots, at some point, when it's something complex or emotional, you want a complex, thoughtful, skilled human to help them, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to skip over just a couple questions here just because we're running a little long because this is a very passionate topic for us.
Yeah.
So what's a strong business case look like?
Well, it's all those things. It's business case out of the gate. If you went from zero, I think you said this, to some automation, that's just absolute success.
Right.
If your CSAT is maintained, that's a part of the business case. So it's a combination of savings, maintaining quality, and expanding capabilities, hours, languages. Like, if you could get all those things to happen, and it will impact not just the cost of your operation, but the value of your customers long term in terms of lifetime value, loyalty. You start to see a return there that isn't usually part of sadly, the customer service operation usually sits in a bucket of cost. But I think it'll soon, the conversation is going to shift to, it's really kind of central to the revenue engine in general, because if done well, and if you're servicing your customers, and the other thing we haven't talked about, which I can't help myself, is with AI, there is no blaming customer service for a poor CSAT when it's a product issue. Right? Isn't that like our story of our lives? It's like, it's okay if you're innovative and you have products that have bugs, but if you hide behind, oh, our CSAT score is low, and you just magically expect humans to be magical when there's product problems, I do think there's some benefit in your ROI factoring of feedback that is almost like third-party independent source for what's causing that.
Yeah, and I think just to touch on from the business case per side, you mentioned it earlier, but I think it's people don't evaluate this enough. Is if you have seasonal spikes, we found that AI levels those out because those spikes tend to be about what's going on for that season, and that stuff's usually easy to automate away. So you'll still see spikes just because of volume with your agents handling those escalations, but it's much more smoothed over. So those spikes, they don't have the cost of new classes. You don't have those new clients that are coming on that are having to wait because it's a massive Black Friday sale going on and something has a question about a coupon code or whatever the case may be. You're not seeing those spikes translate to poor customer service or long wait times or burnt out agents. So that to me is something that's often not talked about because we don't never implement this in the heat of the season because that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. People, risk, and reality. Let's wrap this up.
All right. Jeff, will AI replace agents or change their roles?
So yeah, we did talk a lot about this, but like the blunt truth is it will. Like it is, you're not going to put the effort and do all of this without the savings. The savings are there. It is very good at its job. You're not going to hire the overnight team because the AI is doing its business. And you're going to have definitely like tier 1, tier 2 level support that you're doing for your customer service. Just like we saw when people started implementing their own self-service tools on the websites, like this is that times a million. So you will see a reduction. With that said, you should, and hopefully you are aware of your superstars, because they're going to have new opportunities. They're going to be handling, like you said, those high white glove service, those high value interactions. They're going to maybe transition out of customer service into that knowledge curation and looking at the insights and figuring out what's going on with the business. And you can have more of those relevant conversations internally with those superstars because they've been on the front lines. And I'm a big fan of like that frontline knowledge is like bubbling up within the business. And you can take those people and really give them those opportunities, but it will reduce your staff. Like there's no question about it. We're seeing that across the board.
Okay.
All right.
How about where does AI fail?
So this is a little bit of a loaded question. I would say AI doesn't fail. The implementation of AI can fail. So not having proper guardrails, right? So like you're going to take this, and this is why building it, monitoring it is so important. It's a lot of like, and this is not the old days where there's a bug in the code, right? You're giving instruction just like you do with your agents. And then you're like, okay, well, why did you say that on the call? You're going to have the same thing there. So really it's having those guardrails. It's constantly sort of massaging and tweaking your prompts. It's pivoting and creating like new sub agents when things arise, or breaking things up into like multiple sub agents. So maybe you have an agent that's doing too much. And this is by agents, I mean AI agents.
Right.
So maybe splitting it up into different things. So it's really the implementation, the lack of knowledge of best practices. And again, this is where I feel like we shine because we see it with different businesses. So we have the ability to pull from like knowledge. Oh, this worked really well over here. That'll work really well over there. And then the other thing is setting it and forget it. Like it's not that as much as powerful it is and as impactful as it on your business. It is definitely not a set it and forget it. It's something you really have to be on top of in a very different way than you are with your agents. But you are still like with people, you have human beings. You think, okay, well, great. I've hired a bunch of people. They're going to take care of business. No, you have to be on top of them. You have to retrain them. You have to do quality and insights and figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are. It's no different. So I think it's not so much AI failing. It's just the approach, the implementation, or the ongoing maintenance and support of that.
Or what I hear is like, oh, we implemented it and it wasn't acceptable for our brand and our business. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to say no offense, but it probably wasn't done well, right? If you didn't implement it well and it's not lovely, and it can be lovely, then they're going to give up.
Right.
Okay, we implemented it. We have to pull back and take it down, put back up our legacy chat, which sits there with those bubbles like forever.
Well, I would say even too, like you may looking at, AI failed for us. If it was like 5 years ago when everybody was slapping AI on what was like different types of, I guess you could call AI, like natural language understanding or intent detection, that's not what the language models are. Language models are a totally different beast. So wipe your brain, like start fresh, take a look at it. Try some companies out there that are using it. You'll see it is very different. So yeah, AI is not failing. The people are, and it is like to give a little empathy to the people who are building these things. It's ever evolving. So you do have to also be willing to try things out and dabble in it. Like we said, stick your toe in the water, but it's hard, but you have to keep working at it. So last question for you, Sally.
Okay.
What's the biggest mistake companies make?
Oh my gosh. Well, they don't do it. Right. Yeah. They drag their feet. They look for the perfect everything and they don't go do it. Right. Or they don't want to they want to release it to the customer. Right. Now, in defense, if they're not ready and they don't have alignment and they don't have content and they can't answer the questions for the customers and they don't even have volume, then just forget all that. But let's assume that you do. Right. And then I would just say, it's like Nike, just do it.
That's the perfect way to end this conversation.
Just do it. Okay.
Just do it.
All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jeff. It's always fun to talk. We could do this all day long.
Oh my gosh, if only.
If only we didn't have jobs.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're happy to talk with all of you. We love being connected to those that are in our industry, trying to implement AI for their customer service. Reach out to us at sally@vipdesk.com or jeff@vipdesk.com. We're happy to chat with you, brainstorm with you, take a look at your business. It's super fun for us, and I think really easy for us to see out of the gate, where your opportunities are, and happy to jump on a call with you. So reach out to us. We're happy to do it. And what are your final closing comments, Jeff?
Well, thanks to everyone who submitted questions. Thanks to our existing clients who are always open to us with their dialogues. And yeah, I think the last statement we said is just do it. It's I don't know what you're waiting for. It's really like it is. I come into my job every day amazed, and I think that really you need to see it. We'd be happy to show you, talk to you about it. It's a pretty amazing time in technology and in the world when it comes to this stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks, everyone. And thank you, Jeff. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Sally. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
day. Bye.